nutrition is not in what you eat, it in what you eat eats.
Yeah.
So, go further with that. Like it's what you eat, it
Right.
keeps going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have soil that is lacking in nutrients, then what grows out of that soil is going to be lacking in nutrients. And then what eats what's growing out of that soil is going to be lacking in nutrients, and so on. We've seen that in all sorts of data, just how much less nutritious. I think I saw that you need to eat something like, it was either like 6 or 8 oranges now to get the same amount of nutrients that our grandparents got out of one.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Welcome to the Schoolhouse Life podcast. And today we have the honor of Devorah Kimelman-Block, and she is with Cole Foods. She specializes in kosher, pasture-raised, regenerative agricultural food. Is that a good start,
Yeah.
Devorah? Yeah, right. And I'll let you explain a little bit more about what you do and what your company does. But really excited to have you, and thank you for being on here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. So I started Cole Foods 12 years ago, and we produce grass-fed, regenerative, kosher beef, lamb, chicken, turkey, duck, and then we also sell some salmon too. And we sell online and we ship it across the country. I have had, in the past year, I have specifically kind of entered a more educational role where I'm teaching folks at conferences, but also through our website and different venues. I've been teaching folks about regenerative agriculture and how to use animals specifically to sequester carbon from the atmosphere into the soil. What regenerative agriculture is basically that, using agriculture to enrich your soil and when you do that, it is much more, it's better for the environment. It draws down carbon, but it also makes the farms more stable. It prevents erosion and is good for both like flooding and drought, because the soil is able to hold more water. And it also means that the farmers don't need as much additives, like they don't need to purchase like fertilizers and nutrients, because the soil is more nutritious. And then also, thirdly, because the soil is more nutritious, the food is more nutritious. So there's a saying that the nutrition is not in what you eat, it's in what you eat eats. Yeah. So, and you could even, go further with that. Like it's what you eat, it keeps going. Yeah. So, I mean, if you have soil that is lacking in nutrients, then what grows out of that soil is going to be lacking in nutrients. And then what eats what's growing out of that soil is going to be lacking in nutrients, and so on. So, and we've seen that in all sorts of data, just how much less nutritious. I think, I think I saw that you need to eat something like, it was either like 6 or 8 oranges now to get the same amount of nutrients that our grandparents got out of one. So, for all those reasons, I'm very kind of excited to be educating about regenerative agriculture.
So what got
and how to use animals specifically with it.
Yeah. So what got you started in it?
Well, I've always been interested in kind of the synergy between like humans and the earth, and how we can work together to really like make this place better instead of worse. And that's one big reason why, like, I think animals are a key part of that.
Right.
And that that we just can't sort of exclude them from the agricultural process. I mean, we've got to look at how like cycles work, how nature works, and how it can all like work to benefit each other. And if you take animals out of that process, like and it doesn't work as well. So I'm very interested sort of in the natural process and working with humans to make that better and more synergistic. And one of the ways I had a vegetarian kitchen for 13 years before I started my meat company. The kitchen was vegetarian. I was not, but I didn't want to support the industrial agricultural meat business industry, which is horrific in many, many, many ways, which I'm sure, people can look at my website if they need
Right.
details on
Yeah.
that.
I was just looking at the website yesterday, and the details that you guys have broken down are really like, it's easy. It's like easy bullet points of, okay, for someone that's new to it, like I was really impressed with the amount of
You.
knowledge on just the little bullet points that really break it all down for someone new to the idea.
Right. And we try to make it so like if you really just want like a smattering, like a surface, then like, but you can go deeper and deeper. And but we kept kosher. And so I was looking for basically regenerative farmers market type meats, except kosher. And there wasn't anything. And there still is nothing except for us.
Right.
But that's what I was looking for. And there wasn't anything out there. So I started this company, and it was just this local kind of hobby. But I put up a website, informational. And once I put up the website, then I got interest from all sorts of folks all across the country wanting to, get this meat. And once that happened, then the meat was crossing state lines. And, then I had to deal with national certification, and I had to deal with national USDA certification, but also national kosher certification. And both of those things, are just like a whole another world.
Okay. So quick question. This is going to be a challenging one, but I'm going to throw it on you. In like 1 to 2 sentences, can you define kosher for people that don't know what kosher is?
Sure. So, most religions, lots of religions have some sort of dietary guidelines. So that's what it is. It's a religious, ritualistic dietary guideline that, it's sort of like you would think of like Lent or something like that. Like there is like something that you're doing that makes you think more about where your food is coming from and how holy it is, and how much it took to get to your table, like to be more thoughtful before you eat.
And that's what I think.
And before you slaughter, and before you,
Yeah.
So
And I think that's what regenerative agriculture, to me, I think it mixes with kosher really beautifully, because it's like, to me, you go all the way back to like, you're in charge of these animals, treat them well, treat the earth well, all of that to me is not necessarily a strict kosher line, but to me, I think it should all fall into kosher,
Right. So theoretically,
right. Yeah. Theoretically.
and yeah, it's like, like there's a huge whole commercial industry that has built up. And when I say like there's no kosher farmers market food, there wasn't 12 years ago, there isn't now, except for what we're doing. And it's an industry, and it uses industrially raised animals. It doesn't so kosher, well, I just told you sort of what it is. Like in practicality, like it doesn't start with the raising of the animals, it starts with the slaughtering of the animals. And that's the part that like where the ritual really kicks in. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't matter how they're raised at all, at all. It doesn't start until they're slaughtered. So like they are raised exactly in the same industrial way that like all the other animals that come that are that you eat at McDonald's, every other hamburger, like that's how they're raised. Like like we can sit back and say like kosher should be all encompassing. It really in practicality isn't. It's a business.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's sort of like organic, it's like been sort of bastardized. I mean, it's like, and when you kind of confront the certifiers, they're like, well, we're going to leave, that part, sort of like the humane part of it, up to other certifiers. We're not going to be that certifier.
Yeah.
So we're not going to certify everything. We're not, we're going to start our definition of kosher at slaughter.
And I think that's where people that eat kosher or people that don't eat kosher, where they can, put their wallet, I'm a big fan of vote with your wallet, purchase what you want to see in the market. And eventually that'll be, the only thing there. If you can, people complain to me all the time about poor quality food, but then you see them buying chicken from Walmart and, that's just, it's not the same thing.
Right. And I have to say, it's gotten easier and easier with this COVID thing, because a lot of the like small farmers that, are not Walmart or that are doing regenerative farming they've totally been able to pivot and are doing a lot of online direct, retail sales now. So it's super easy right now to buy whatever it is that you're looking for. You don't have to, in fact, the Washington Post yesterday, the food section on the front cover had an article about this and listed, I don't know, like 30, 40 different places that you can purchase online, regenerative meat.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. They
didn't do my place. They didn't get into kosher, but
oh man.
So that's helpful.
Okay, so you listed out some of the products. I know you have like beef jerky too, and all kinds of things, right? I mean,
we have turkey jerky, we have beef jerky. We have, they're all nitrate, free. They're healthy. So it's like our hot dogs do not have all the preservatives and all that stuff. They're just like made, and it's just beef and spices. That's it.
Oh,
we stick it in the freezer, and and so I mean, you do have to be careful. They're not gonna last like a million years in your fridge, but like like a normal hot dog would. But then but you can eat as much as you want. They're not unhealthy.
So tell me a little bit about the education aspect of what you're teaching people about the whole regenerative agriculture. Like, that's more of your role now?
Well, so I'm still involved in some of the supply, of getting supply for Whole Foods, which is my company. But I'm not really involved in like the day-to-day customer service and that sort of thing. So what that's freed me up to do is I go to conferences, I speak. I speak at Jewish conferences. I speak at regenerative conferences. I met you at the Jewish Farmer Conference. And, I'll speak at synagogues and schools, and just sort of like, it's a new idea for folks.
Yeah.
And soil science in general is new, but it is really getting a lot of attention. It was brought up in the Democratic debates quite a lot. Like, what are we going to do about the environment, about, what are, and it's on the table. Like, there's a bill that was introduced in February that is sort of like the Green New Deal, except with agriculture, and they don't call it the Green New Deal because I guess that's so controversial, but anyway, it's like the Green New Deal, except agriculture. And it's like, to me, it's like a perfect bill. And if that kind of thing went through, then, there would be all sorts of resources directed in this specific way towards regenerative agriculture.
What's the name of that bill?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not good like that.
We're going to find out, and we'll put it in the show notes so that people can call and push through. Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but it was the Pingree, Representative Pingree from Maine was the one that introduced it. And it's, gotten, it was in February. It was like the end of February. So it's kind of gotten pushed under the table. But at the same time, like, it's bipartisan because like I said before, like, this is a stabilizer for farmers and farms.
Yeah.
and a financial stabilizer, but also a literal, like, it stabilizes the soil.
Right. Yeah.
And who doesn't want like food security? And, and like, if you don't have food security, you have a lot of political unrest, like internationally, and a lot of refugees and a lot of problems. So, I mean, there's a lot of like any issue you have out there, you can
Right.
almost trace back to the soil,
Oh,
right? And
definitely.
so it
I mean,
can, it,
even like for us, a lot of ours is natural health too. And, I mean, with natural health, if you have a healthy immune system, healthy omega 3s, everything that you find in regenerative raised meat is actually helping your body be healthier, which is, I mean, to me, it just seems like, okay, if we're replicating nature with regenerative agriculture, it's the way our bodies were meant to eat and to live. So there's a lot of power in all of that, not to mention like the carbon and everything else. I mean,
mhm.
there's just, like you said, there's just so many layers to it.
No, I was just saying, like, so it's nice because of that, there's, like, there is potential for a lot of bipartisanship
Yeah.
with this particular bill. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just, I was just reading about the, like, even like our current issue with COVID. Like, I was reading how viruses actually travel on air pollution and gather where there's large amounts of air pollution. So
Mm,
the air pollution actually like stops them and makes them fall in those spots. So, being able to sequester the carbon and bring that down even has ramifications for that. So I mean, it's
yeah.
pretty
Well,
amazing
and
stuff.
also just like the way we have been living,
Right.
and raising animals is, contributing to
Yeah.
these diseases that are coming from the animals. It's
Right.
because,
Yeah.
the animals don't have the habitat that they used to have, and they're living in close quarters, close to
Yep.
humans. And so like the SARS and, COVID, I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're
Yeah.
zoological.
Yeah. Wuhan is like the number one place in the globe right now that uses glyphosate, which is the primary, for those that don't know, the primary ingredient for Roundup. Um,
Hmm.
so I mean, it seemed like as nature has to correct itself and will quickly if there's not someone else fixing it. So if regenerative agriculture is a great way for us to do something, I think. So here's a question though, is somebody who's not a farmer, what's the small step that they can take to, contribute to regenerative agriculture, or to contribute to helping with this whole process?
Well, they could buy the meat. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an easy one.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead. I mean, you can look it up, but I can also look it up. The Washington Post food article from yesterday,
Yeah.
that lists like all the different farms that you can order from online that will deliver to your door.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's an easy one. I mean, like, beyond that, there's a lot. And I will say that, so, okay, two things. One is, have you heard of the website and the organization in the book called Drawdown?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so I would definitely recommend going to their website.
Okay.
Or buying their book or whatever. But the website, I love it. It's super, super easy to use. And its purpose is to scientifically analyze, like, for lay people, for non-scientists, for Joe Schmo person, like, what are the ways what are the most effective ways to draw down carbon?
Oh.
So some of them are, things that, you and I probably really couldn't do, but none of them, they tried to avoid things that would require huge policy. They have the things that would be most effective, and then if you like look deeper, you can like really get into the weeds on this. But the solutions that they're coming up to with, they're trying to avoid things that require huge policy changes.
Wow. Okay.
So they're looking at, like, okay, these are the big ways to do this, but like, what can, Joe Schmo people do?
Right.
And they have competitions and like who, do the most kind of thing. But at any rate, so the whole website is fascinating, but what is really interesting is like the sort of land use agriculture part of it, which, they divide it up into a lot of sections, that section, they divide it into a lot of sections. But if you combine all of the land use agriculture pieces, then it's like 25% of
Oh,
emissions
wow.
is coming from land use and agriculture. So, but they're not just stopping at that. They're like, okay, so what do we need to do?
Right.
Well, the top things you can do are this. So I would recommend anybody interested in this at all just to go to that. And if you're interested in land and agricultural solutions, you can just look at like all the ones that they have there. I mean, generally speaking, I would say like eat less meat. And when you eat meat, eat regenerative meat.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what Drawdown says.
Yeah.
And, and that's what we do. We make meat and we make it special when we make it. Like we
Right.
do it like once a week.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal when we do it. And my kids, just love it. And it's a big fest, but it's not, but it's a special thing.
Right. Yeah.
So, and so eat less meat, and when you eat the meat, eat good meat. And
Eat
you
good
can
meat.
do that
Yeah.
very easily through through all those places that are in the Washington Post yesterday.
Right. And your website. I mean, I liked like even how you guys ship it is like fully sustainable packaging and recycling and composting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all of
We
that.
have cool shipping.
Yeah.
We have cool coolers.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. There's nothing like a bigger bummer than you like try and get like good quality, do something, and then it shows up in like a big plastic box or something.
Oh my gosh. And I've been doing this for 12 years. So coolers have come a long way in 12 years. 12 years ago, we tried to get eco coolers and it was a mess. And we spent a lot of money on it and all that. But now it's all we use. It's all we
awesome.
use. Before it had to be like this add-on, and it was, but now it's like we only ship in eco coolers. They're really cool. They're made out of like old jeans and hemp bags,
Yeah.
So and they can just be whatever, like put into anything, and unlike styrofoam, which you can't do anything with.
No, ours just goes straight into the worm bin and it's done. Okay, so 2 more questions for you. I really appreciate all of this. I think this is great information.
Yeah.
The next thing is you said that you made a coupon code for our people.
Yes, I did. And what is it called now?
I think you said it's the Schoolhouse Life, right?
Oh, okay. Then yes, that is what it's called.
Yeah. And
I tell you, like the detailed things like that.
I'm the same way. I have it written down on the side. That's how I know.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's 10% off coupon if you guys go to colefoods.com and use that coupon code, the Schoolhouse Life, then get 10% off. So that's awesome. And then the last thing that we like to ask everybody is, what is one thing that you personally do to stay healthy?
Well, I mean, we do a lot of things, many things, but I try to like get outside every day and like exercise. I mean, we, have lots of kids and big life and everything, and like live in an apartment building and all that. But regardless of all that, like even with COVID, I'm like, you get outside. I mean, it's your mental health, it's your physical health, and
that's an important one. Getting outside,
Well, and exercising, not just being outside, like getting into it.
Do you run, or what do you do for exercise?
I bike.
Nice.
Pretty much every day. I used to run, and then I busted my ankle, and like that.
Yeah.
Just like no coming back.
Right.
I've had surgery.
Oh man.
I've really tried to come back from that. But at any rate, so biking is fine.
Biking's great. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And people, if you want to connect with Devorah, she's on Facebook at colefoods.com. Or Cole Foods is probably the best place to find on Facebook.
Right. Cole Foods, like FOODS. KOLFOODS.
Yeah, that's right. KOL. Yeah. But thank you so much.
Thank you.